Introduction and guest welcome. Welcome back to the Dr. Thomas podcast, where we combine traditional wisdom with contemporary science to support your well-being after age 60. Today's discussion focuses on a frequently neglected nighttime routine that profoundly influences brain health. To analyze this, we have invited a recurring and highly valued guest, Dr. Thomas. With decades of experience, he remains mentally sharp and is considered a leading authority in senior health. He joins us to explain a nightly practice designed to maintain cognitive clarity for seniors. Welcome once again, Dr. Thomas. We appreciate your presence. You maintain that the way we conclude our day dictates our performance the following morning. What is the essential step that those over 60 should consistently remember before sleeping? The biological necessity of preparation. Thank you for the invitation. It is a misconception that the brain deactivates during sleep. It actually becomes more active in specific ways. While the physical body rests, the brain executes a sophisticated process of filtering experiences, organizing memories, eliminating toxins, and repairing neural links. However, the success of this process relies entirely on preparation. You must provide the brain with the specific environment and resources required for these tasks. Neglecting this preparation does more than skip a step. It deprives the brain of its regenerative potential. Over time, this cumulative neglect results in morning grogginess, forgetfulness, and a level of mental exhaustion that stimulants like coffee cannot resolve. You should never retire for the night without preparing the brain for its restorative phase. This preparation is straightforward but vital. The concept of brain starvation. The idea of starving the brain is a compelling concept not commonly discussed in many circles. While starvation is typically associated with physical hunger, what Dr. Thomas is identifying is a more subtle and hazardous form of deprivation. It involves withholding the materials the brain needs to rebuild during its peak nocturnal repair window. I recall my own grandfather, who was intellectually vibrant for most of his life, but eventually began forgetting names and misplacing items. At the time, no one considered evaluating his nighttime nutrition or whether he was eating at all. How does this type of nightly oversight result in actual cognitive decline? The library analogy and Mr. Yamamoto. Consider the brain as a library that organizes new volumes, fixes damaged books, and cleans the shelves during your sleep. To perform these duties, the librarian requires energy and the proper tools. If the system is deprived of nutrients or safety signals, the brain enters an emergency survival mode rather than an organizational one. For instance, Dr. Thomas treated a 74-year-old patient named Mr. Yamamoto, a retired principal who was very disciplined. He reported persistent minor forgetfulness, losing keys or forgetting his purpose for entering a room. He had ceased eating after 6 p.m. based on weight loss trends. Consequently, his brain was entering an 8-hour fast without protein or calming nutrients. Once he began a small ritual, such as warm tofu broth and deep breathing before bed, his clarity returned within weeks. Signals of safety and restoration. We are discussing more than just a snack. We are talking about a signal to the brain that it is safe to begin restoration. It functions like dimming the lights at the conclusion of a performance to signal the start of the cleanup and reset. Without that signal, the brain remains vigilant and scans for threats rather than rebuilding. As Dr. Thomas explains, nighttime food and the surrounding ritual serve as instructions for the brain. Soft lighting, slow breathing, and a steady routine speak to the limbic system, which manages emotions and memory. Research confirms that consistent pre-sleep rituals lower cortisol and stabilize heart rate variability, creating the perfect setting for neurological repair. Nutritional requirements for seniors. It is important to clarify this, as many seniors are advised to avoid eating late. However, Dr. Thomas suggests that the quality of food matters more than the omission of it. Exactly. After age 60, the brain is more sensitive as blood flow and hormones change. The body can enter a catabolic state faster, meaning it may break down tissue for energy during long fasts. If you sleep on a completely empty stomach, The brain prioritizes power conservation over memory storage. To protect the brain, one should look for light protein and calming minerals. This might include warm miso broth with tofu for gut health and amino acids. Other options include a soft-boiled egg or white fish with ginger. Avoid sugars and processed items that disrupt natural rhythms. The unity of mind and body, Shinshin Ichino. The approach shared by Dr. Thomas involves the unity of mind and body. The ritual extends beyond the kitchen to include an environment of peace. This includes deactivating screens 30 minutes before sleep to avoid blue light, which interferes with melatonin. Instead, one might use candlelight or read a physical, meaningful book. Breathing is also fundamental. Dr. Thomas recommends deep abdominal breaths with a long exhale. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system to lower cortisol. Adding a gratitude list further assists the brain in letting go and resetting. Scientific studies show that gratitude improves sleep quality and lowers blood pressure by reducing the brain's perception of threat. Movement, sequence, and conclusion. Timing and rhythm are as important as nutrients because the brain follows specific cycles. Dr. Thomas also recommends gentle, mindful movement, not stressful exercise, such as neck rolls or shoulder circles for 5 minutes. This increases blood flow and calms the nervous system. The sequence is vital. Movement first to prepare the stage, then nourishment as the offering. For those worried about digestion, a small, warm, liquid-based portion is usually healing rather than disruptive. Memory is built during stable, deep sleep, which requires balanced brain chemistry. Aging well is about rhythm and consistency. To start tonight, try the simple ritual suggested by Dr. Thomas. Warm broth, slow breathing, gentle stretching, and a gratitude list. Memory does not fade solely due to age, but due to neglect. Thank you, Dr. Thomas, for sharing this. To our listeners, if you value this content, feel free to subscribe to the Dr. Thomas channel.